the Nashville Hitmakers at musicrewind.com or call 855-798-5556 today and pay only $19.98. Plus, get reduced shipping. Just enter or mention promo code HITS55. Go to musicrewind.com or call 855-798-5556. Remember Hits 55 to save on shipping. This offer is available for a limited time to U.S. residents only and cannot be combined with any other offer.
Enjoying Big Talker Network is as easy as asking for it. Program your digital home assistants such as Google Home, Alexa, and Siri to stream Big Talker Network content by simple voice command. Enjoy convenient hands-free access to the program whenever you want, however you want by asking for Big Talker.
Hey, welcome back to another edition of The Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad. Our apologies, this morning's show was a bit retarded due to a system error. But The Asylum is still in operation right here on the Big Talker Network, bigtalker.live. Please visit the website, download the app for Android and iOS devices, and I promise you will have a wonderful experience. That's right. Welcome back to The Asylum. It's been a crazy morning. Fantastic night last night. Apparently Windows 11 is out because every computer I have is having like just this big... Every computer is messing with me today. So some Asylum news before our special guest this morning. I grew up in New Mexico, right next to this really big, nasty state called Texas that has their own electrical grid, their own way of doing things. They are basically, I guess you could consider them almost their own little fiefdom, if you will. Well, Walmart has decided to give those gun-toting Texans something to shoot at. Apparently, Walmart has expanded its drone delivery service to reach 4 million households. One of those is in the state of Texas. Walmart is expanding drone delivery across 6 states this year, making it possible for many more customers to get a box of diapers or dinner ingredients delivered in 30 minutes or less, which is going to go a long way towards helping obesity and self-reliance. But anyway, through an expansion with operator DroneUp, the big box retailer said it would be able to reach 4 million households in parts of Arizona, Arkansas, Florida, Texas, Utah, and Virginia. The deliveries by air will be fulfilled from a total of 37 stores, with 34 of those run by DroneUp. It announced its plans. Oh, don't do that. Oh, yeah. It announced its plans for growth on Tuesday in a blog post. Walmart currently offers drone deliveries from a few stores near its headquarters in northwest Arkansas and in North Carolina. Walmart has been testing how the small unmanned aircraft could change the game for retail, drive e-commerce growth, and turn its stores into a way to outmatch Amazon on speed. 2 years ago, it struck deals with 3 different operators, Flytrex, Zipline, and DroneUp, and began pilot projects, you get it, to deliver groceries, household essentials, and at-home COVID-19 test kits to customers. The company declined to share the terms of those deals. Anyway, the new kind of delivery is an extension of Walmart's strategy to use its huge physical footprint as a competitive edge. About 90% of Americans live within 10 miles of one of Walmart's more than 4,700 stores. Through these stores, Walmart has offered a growing list of fast online options, including curbside, in-home, which delivers directly to customers' fridges, and express delivery, which drops items at the doorstep in 2 hours or less. Customers who live within range of a Walmart drone delivery site can order any of thousands of items between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Each drone delivery comes with a $3.99 fee. Customers can order items totaling up to 10 pounds. Each order is picked, packed, and loaded at the store and flown remotely by a certified pilot to the customer's yard or driveway. A cable on the drone slowly lowers the package. Orders must be placed on DroneUp website or through the websites of the other 2 operators. Walmart said it planned to eventually add the order placing capability to its own website and app. With the large network of sites, Walmart will be able to, or with the larger network of sites, Walmart will be able to deliver over 1 million packages by drone in a year. David Gugina, Senior Vice President of Innovation and Automation for Walmart, said in the blog post, one of the surprises of the drone tests had been what customers ordered, he said. What? One of the surprises of the drone tests had been what customers ordered, he added. Walmart anticipated customers would use the drones to get emergency items such as over-the-counter medicine. Instead, he said many have used it for convenience. At one store, for instance, the top seller for drone delivery is Hamburger Helper. Other frequent items delivered by drone are batteries, trash bags, laundry detergent, and Welch's fruit snacks. No brand placement there. Walmart will use the drones to make money. Really? Oh, in another way. Plans to offset the cost of deliveries by selling photographs taken by drones to municipalities and local businesses, such as construction or real estate companies. The revenue will be split with the drone operator. Now, this to me is a good thing, right? I mean, the fact that we are an obese country with all the laziness built in to our capitalism, I do think it's going to do well to help, prevent people shooting at people, because now we have something to shoot at in the air. These drones are basically flying little targets. Yeah. This is not the way of healing in this country, right? If we're trying to become healthier and more, cosmopolitan. I wonder how much a handgun weighs, because if it weighs less than $10, you can buy a handgun from Walmart and have it droned to your house with ammunition and lowered on a cable. And of course, they'll be taking pictures of you the entire time. So yeah, Walmart has just partnered with Big Brother. So if you don't want pictures of, your good private times in the backyard, make sure these Walmart drones are there's no, they didn't ask. They just did. They were like, yeah, this is what people need. No, this is not what we need. What we need are incentives to walk further than the driveway of our house. It does not make sense. I don't know. But this is Walmart. Walmart is one of those people that encourages obese people by having battery-powered shopping carts. We don't give a damn about your health. We sell all these health products at a profit, but yeah, we want the unhealthiest people possible, which is why we have shopping carts with batteries in them. So even if you can't carry your own weight, we'll do it for you. That's wonderful. And it's had a conversation with a friend recently. This is going to blow your mind. Back in the 70s, there was a show called The Waltons. Good night, John Boy. Good night, Grandpa. You remember that? Yeah, Sam Walton. That's Sam's Club. Walmart is Walton family. So they spent a buttload of money trying to make themselves out to be the rural frontier family, and then became Walmart.com, America's favorite place to shop, which is now droning its crap to your house. This is not going to bode well. And I'm wondering if, gun groups are going to have competitions, like, for every drone we give you a gold star or something. Especially in Texas, man. We're going to just shoot every damn thing that moves. So we're going to shoot down these drones. I bet it happens. I mean, it's not going to be Florida, man. Texas, man, is going to come up with some competition here. That's what we need, is more crap flying around in the sky, right? Because 4,700 stores, imagine each one of these has 100 drones, or even 10 drones. If it's 10 drones, that's 47,000 drones hovering in the air over your house, taking pictures that you have no control over. That just does not bode well. It'll be operated by a certified pilot. Okay. That's not the certified pilot. I don't know, man. That just seems like a really bad idea. And Americans are all for it. But like I said, I bet it just turns out to be another target practice. Something else to shoot at. And I can't imagine, that this is going to be an honorable thing. I mean, we have porch pirates as it is. Now you're just going to have, like, chasers. Hey, look, there's a drone. Follow it. And drones can't go that fast, right? They can turn on a dime, but, trust me. You be able to locate it before it drops its package, intercept that puppy, shoot it out of the sky, and be gone. So, yeah. Probably not the best idea these folks have had, but I could be wrong. I have been before. I tell you what, we're going to take a bit of a break, getting back onto the clock cycle here so that everything's back in sync. And when we come back, we should have Representative Dale Follwell, State Treasurer Dale Follwell with us. We're going to talk about the Eden Village project and how to make it better. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after these messages, please. On the Asylum, Refuge, World Gone Mad, don't go nowhere.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. A proposed development in the Monkey Junction area of New Hanover County has lots of homeowners concerned about its potential impacts. They were able to share some of those concerns at a meeting hosted by the developers last night. Zimmer Development Company is proposing a rezoning of a 15-acre tract of land on Masonboro Loop Road. Right now, it's zoned for 2.5 units per acre. The developers want that changed to about 7 units per acre to allow a townhome development with some single-family homes. But neighbors say they're concerned about how more density could potentially add additional traffic to an area that's already congested. In Brunswick County, Leland town leaders have approved 2 developers' plans that would bring hundreds of new townhomes to the area. During a meeting Tuesday night, the town's planning board approved 2 new subdivisions. One will add more than 250 townhomes off Westgate Drive. The other, along Buckeye Road Northeast, will add more than 200 homes. Both developers must now work on infrastructure improvements in the area and submit building permit applications before construction begins. A controversial bill is making its way through the North Carolina State Senate. The bill is similar to a new law in Florida, and many in our area are weighing in. Proposed House Bill 755 is named the Parents' Bill of Rights. One of the major things the bill would establish is prohibiting school curriculums on gender identity and sexual orientation for kindergarten through 3rd grade. Schools would also contact parents if their child asked to change their name or pronoun. A New Hanover County man is feeling lucky this morning after winning a $200,000 scratch-off yesterday. Steve Milligan tried his luck on a $5 Sapphire Sevens ticket from the gas center on Market Street. Milligan took home more than $142,000 after taxes. One more $200,000 prize remains to be claimed. For more on these stories, you can head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with the Storm Track 2 forecast. Going to be another seasonable day here in the Cape Fear as our high temperatures climb into the low 80s along the immediate coastline. Middle 80s should do it away from the coast later today under sunshine and clouds, but we are going to see moisture start to increase throughout the afternoon and evening hours, and you'll notice a slight uptick in the humidity overnight tonight as our temperatures fall down to the low to middle 70s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by 2 Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to 2menandatruck.com. 2menandatruck.com.
Hey everyone, Ben Hawkins here with Cross Country Mortgage. Rates are still at historic lows, and there has never been a better time to purchase your dream home or refinance your existing. With over 300 loan products including conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, renovation, and jumbo, we are certain we have the right loan product for you and your family. Call me today to be pre-qualified to make the offer on your next dream home. 910-352-3373 or visit my website at lendwithben.com.
One Love Tennis started in 2013 to give back to young boys and girls. We now go through 460 kids a week that are learning about life skills, learning to succeed in life through academics and tennis. Putting those two together, if you do them well, you can write your own ticket. To get involved in this program, go to our website, one-love-tennis.org.
Enjoying Big Talker Network is as easy as asking for it. Program your digital home assistants such as Google Home, Alexa, and Siri to stream Big Talker Network content by simple voice command. Enjoy convenient hands-free access to the program whenever you want, however you want, by asking for Big Talker.
Hey, welcome back to the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad, right here on the Big Talker Network. Please visit the website at bigtalker.live. Download the app for Android and iOS devices. I promise you'll love it. It's a way of life. And as promised this morning, we have a special guest, State Treasurer Dale Follwell. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Good morning to you. Nobody put on my calendar that I was going to the asylum this morning.
Well, it's a good thing that you don't have to be crazy here. You're just looking for refuge from the crazy.
Yes. Well, listen, thank you for having me on. I've heard great things about your format, and it's just so refreshing, TK, to be in a format where people want to be informed, not just affirmed about what they already think.
Exactly. We want to have a little pushback. We want to have some conversation so we can get more accurate information so that when we do vote, which is, a big push of this entire station, is to get people to vote and to vote informed, so they're not just walking up and saying, oh, I recognize this guy from TV. We want to know what they're about, what they're doing. And the best way to do that is to talk to the people who know what's going on, which is why we reach out to people like yourself that have a good handle on what's going on in the state.
That's exactly right. And I was at a elementary school a few months ago, and a fourth grader asked me if I signed a $1 bill, and that seems like a interesting question, but it's a logical question. If you think about a fourth grader, that's where they most often see the word treasurer's own money.
Mm-hmm.
TK, we don't sign the $1 bill, obviously, but we manage one of the largest pools of $1 bills in the entire world. As a matter of fact, when you add the pension, the health care, the 401, and the fact that we're the state banker and we have the NC Cash division, which we'll talk about in a moment, we're managing nearly $250 billion. That is nearly 10 times the size of the state budget. That's what we do here at the Treasurer's Office.
Wow. Now, some of that money recently was changing hands from New Hanover to Novant. And some of that money, how does that work? There's capital that can be touched, but all the interest can be used.
Well, that's gone into a trust, which
okay.
I don't think we have anything to do with. I was in favor of saving our hospital, meaning New Hanover Regional. I was opposed to the merger. I'm opposed to cartels. I'm opposed to monopolies. I'm opposed to what was a gem, not just in North Carolina, but in the United States. And your listeners, some of them know that New Hanover Regional was one of the few high-quality, high-access, affordable, profitable hospitals, not just in North Carolina, but in the United States. And there was the coming together of two hospitals, I believe, back in the 60s, where we had racially segregated hospitals. And it's a real shame. And, I blame the multi-billion-dollar corporations who disguise themselves as nonprofits and the multi-million-dollar executives who are laughing all the way to the bank.
There does seem to be profit in healthcare at some regard. And that's sort of something, one of the discussions that was brought to me, and I didn't know what to say, so I thought I would ask a smart guy. It had to do with this expanding Medicaid, and what's this about? Is this another grab for cash, or is this another state budget?
Well, I've been asked, 100 times about my opinion on Medicaid expansion, and I know that you may have already done your yoga this morning, but being the keeper of the public purse is somewhat like yoga, and the secret to yoga is to pay attention to your mat and to breathe. The discussion, the deliberation, the negotiation regarding whether North Carolina should expand Medicaid is a discussion that squarely belongs on the mat of the General Assembly and the governor. Now, let's talk about what Medicaid expansion is. It's about increasing access to health care. We have 750,000 people on our state health plan at the Treasurer's office who teach, protect, and otherwise serve. And I'm trying to provide quality and expanded affordable health care to those. That is my responsibility. But as you just said, there's a lot of discussion going on regarding Medicaid expansion in North Carolina, but that is squarely on the mat of the General Assembly and the governor.
Now, is that a taxpayer-based process when expanding?
Well, there's some new carrots and sticks that have been put into offered to states that have not expanded Medicaid by the Biden administration, and that's what's different this time. That's why there's been so many committee meetings. Senator Rabin and some of the other great legislators from down there are, keenly aware of what those sticks and carrots are. But as I continue to say, because you just heard me refer to the healthcare industry as a cartel, these are associations which are formed to restrict competition and or raise prices. As we talk about this Medicaid expansion, it goes back to what I've been saying since I've been the treasurer of North Carolina. We don't have a revenue problem in healthcare. We have a cost problem.
Oh, good point. Because I can buy Tylenol at the Dollar General for, $4, where an individual tablet is 12 to 15 in the hospital. That's a bit of a markup. I mean, that's even better than like what alcohol sales get.
Exactly, and we've got some reports out of the Treasurer's office about, how profitable some of these hospitals are that call themselves nonprofits. Atrium Health, which has some exposure down in New Hanover County and Brunswick County, has, are you ready? $9 billion in the bank.
That's with a B.
Yes. They didn't make $9 billion by building boats, selling groceries, or developing software. They made $9 billion on the backs of sick people.
And that's the profit. That's not the cash flow. That's above the expenses, the rent, the salaries, the bonuses, the CEOs, all that. $9 billion left over for a nonprofit.
Right.
That's pretty profitable. I may have to change gigs.
Right. So, anyway, now, why should your listeners care about this? Because we are now in a situation, and I'm actually looking at a newspaper that somebody left on my desk yesterday from 1976, our bicentennial year. Report cites the high cost of health care. Former Treasurer Harlan Bowles of North Carolina warned us about this 35 years ago. Bill Gates warned us about this 15 years ago. State Auditor Beth Wood warned us about this 12 years ago. The State Employees Association of North Carolina warned us 10 years ago. Warren Buffett warned us 4 years ago, and Elizabeth Warren 3 years ago in the presidential debate said that the leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States are things associated with healthcare bankruptcies and medical billing.
Oh, yeah, one ambulance ride and it's over.
Yeah. So what do these people have in common, generally speaking? They're all Democrats. I'm not. This is not a Democrat-Republican issue. This is a moral issue. Any of these cartel members who continue to be on the side of secret pricing will be on the wrong side of history. And the reason it should matter to your listeners is that we're in a situation now with medical billing where people can't see themselves out of their poverty, and that's dangerous.
Yep, and especially if something happens and they have to take a ride to the hospital, and that'll plague them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, and guess what? If they don't pay that bill, who pays it?
The taxpayers, I'm going to bet.
Property taxpayers, generally speaking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe we should, take a look at some of the issues and bills that are coming up so that voters would have, something to look at, something to understand, because right now it just seems like we're being dictated or mandated on these things. We don't really have a choice or a voice in this. Is there a way to change that?
Well, yeah, it's for people to listen to shows like yours and actually be informed and not affirmed.
There we go. Now, the other side of the conversation, I know, because I know you have a very busy schedule today. One of your personal projects is nccash.com. Did I get it right?
You did get it right. Now, for the lawyers, the official word is the Escheats Fund, but I used to stutter, and I'm advised not to use that word on the air.
Okay.
Because it could come out wrong. So we're going to call it nccash.com. And folks, this is not a gimmick. There is $1 billion sitting at nccash.com, $1 billion at the Treasurer's office. We have smashed all records this year by paying out over $100 million this year.
I just need $20 for a burger, man.
Well, I should have looked up your name, but I put in TK and nothing came up. So anyway, generally speaking, it's where somebody tried to mail your listeners a check that they did not get or did not cash. I had to speak at the GOP convention last Friday in Greensboro. I stopped there in Mebane to get a haircut, Sports Clips, random place to get a haircut. The lady that cut my hair, I looked her up on nccash.com, had 4 entries, one dating back to when she was 18 years old working at Wilco. Had a problem with my cable back in Winston-Salem on last Sunday. The person that came out to fix my cable had 3 entries at nccash.com. We are constantly giving out checks out of nccash.com, and your listeners should go there, check their name, their maiden name, kids, parents, church. There's $1 million, TK, at nccash.com that belongs to churches, their Rotary Club, their county,
wow.
their city.
So it's not just
business
individuals. It's
no,
any
not just
entity.
individuals. The entity. So if you just go in and put Rotary, there are 47 entries in there for Rotary clubs that have money at nccash.com. Or if you just go in there and put in Onslow, or New Hanover, or Brunswick, or the city of, or it's just stunning what you're going to find.
I had no idea that it was not just individuals. I went through the process myself and found some stuff that our family had left behind, 15 years ago.
Right.
10 years, 12, yeah, it was about 12 years ago, I guess, and totaled a little over 2 months' rent. It was nice.
Well, it is nice, and I know that there are some people that listen to your show that have lived in other states, and there's 3 important pieces of information they need to get from this topic. One is there's no charge to look it up and no charge to make a claim. Now, if you have $80 in nccash.com, it'll say over 50. The reason is it's public record. We just found $200,000 for a lady that had been sitting there 14 years from a life insurance policy.
Ooh, wow.
And based on her situation, we just wouldn't want people descending on her to take advantage of her.
Yeah.
So number one is that there's no charge to look up your name and no charge to make a claim. And if you're on a website that tries to do that, you're on the wrong website. Now, some say that I have a radio face, so a face for radio. But if you go to nccash.com and you don't see something that resembles me as the state treasurer, you're not on the right website. Second, most importantly, every state has one. So if you've lived in another state, you should check their state for their unclaimed cash division. And thirdly, as I said earlier, it stays there forever. So if it's an estate and it's going to cost you $85 to reopen the estate, and there's only $58 sitting there, that's not quite worth it.
No.
We actually have a support group of people who can't sleep through the night, and they all get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and they look up all the people they know that have money at nccash.com.
Wow. That's almost like its own little treasure hunt.
Well, it is. That's why they call us the keepers of the public purse.
And some of these are going to be like as mundane and easily forgettable as like a deposit on a utility. That after living there 3 or 4 years and you just forget about it.
Right. Or you overpaid a deductible at the dentist office. A rent deposit. A last paycheck where you moved before the paycheck got sent to you back in the old days.
Oh yeah.
You'll just be shocked. I spoke to the Raleigh Chamber of Commerce yesterday, and they had $63 sitting at nccash.com.
I bet they had a pizza night.
Yeah.
In celebration.
So anyway, there's a lot going on at the Treasurer's office, and when we talk about the healthcare cartel, I want to double back on that for a moment.
Please, yes.
Let's be clear. We're not talking about the people who actually do the work of healthcare. We're not talking about the people who saved my life over 2 years ago when in March of 20, I was one of the early contractors of COVID. As I said earlier, we're talking about these multi-million-dollar
administrative,
salary people. When I talk about the cartel, it gives me goosebumps to think of where our country could be right now. Our state, if we were known as the state with transparent health care. It's stunning what we could accomplish, not just for the economic engine of our torso, which is the Triangle, Mecklenburg, Wilmington area, our military bases in Asheville, but I'm talking about the legs, arms, toes, and fingers of our state, which is rural North Carolina.
Where the real work gets done.
Correct.
And that's one of the reasons why we have such a robust activity in our government, I guess, overall, that we do have healthy discussions most of the time. But this is less partisan, it seems, and more interested in just working with the people. That's unusual, I guess. Again, I'm new to this.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me tell your listeners something that I hope will bring them comfort during a very, very uncomfortable time in all of our lives, both domestically and internationally. The blood that runs through me is Quaker, and one of the spices of the Quaker religion is to be fair and just. And what that means to your listeners is that with everything dividing our society right now, which is political party and gender and race, the only thing that matters here is green, Green. And what that means is that we don't pick and choose which laws to apply or who to apply them to. We treat everyone equally because we're keepers of the public's purse. We're not keepers of the Republican purse or the Democrat purse or the unaffiliated purse. We're keepers of the public purse. And we treat everybody fairly and justly here at the Treasurer's office. And more importantly than ever, I think that people are just sick and tired of public servants who attack people and don't attack problems. And this is very serious. When you have a situation where you have a problem that needs to be fixed, you got to ask yourself, do you want Sheriff Taylor, Barney Fife, or Ernest T. Bass doing it? And I think most people would vote for Sheriff Taylor.
He did seem to be the most level-headed. Either that or Aunt Bee.
Yes.
She seemed to be also pretty level-headed, and that's, again, this is a new thing for me to learn that I didn't know as much about the Treasurer Department other than they cut checks.
Right.
But how that happens and where it's coming from and some of the discussions that you're involved in as the Treasurer when looking at some of these things coming at us as expenses, and man, I do not envy your job.
Well, let me say something else to your listeners that sounds kind of quippy, but it's very serious. People don't call our office to book a cruise. they call our office because they've had a life-changing event. They've gotten a job with the state. They've retired from the job with the state. They've gotten married and had to change their beneficiary, or they've gotten divorced, or maybe even lost a spouse. They've had children that need to go on the state health plan, and those children age out. People don't call us to book a cruise. They call us because they've had a life-changing event, and our job is to try to help them get through that life-changing event, most of which are blessings, some aren't.
But you're there for everybody, and that's why it's part of the North Carolina NC Cash, North Carolina Treasury Department.
That's right, and people can learn more about the cartel by going to nctreasurer.com.
Okay.
And of course, on that on the big website, you'll also find NC Cash, but nctreasurer.com, you can find examples of these reports about charity care, people's credit scores being weaponized and then being punished by medical billing. You can learn more about all that.
Man, I did not know. So again, nctreasurer.com. And that's going to give you more information on what's going on with the health care costs right here in North Carolina.
Exactly, and you know what we're trying to do about it on behalf of those that teach, protect, and otherwise serve.
Man, thank you for that. That's everybody. As soon as you're done at bigtalker.live, open a new browser window, nctreasurer.com. There's our chance to fight back against healthcare is an animal that's just not going away.
Well, that's exactly right, and we're talking about a product that people would rather not consume because that would mean they're healthy. When they try to inquire what it costs, they're told it's none of their dang business, and when they don't pay, they get punished and have their credit score weaponized. And we can do better, and that's what we're trying to do here on behalf of those that teach, protect, and serve at the State Treasurer's Office of North Carolina.
And you would think that a healthy, happy populace would be a productive and effective populace, but if we're going to tax people out of existence just for, being sick or having, being in an accident or something, that's really not the type of support I would think that the rest of us are looking for.
Well, that's exactly right, and you and I are going to get on a regular schedule where I can sort of bring the news from the world to your listeners, and I very much look forward to that. But I can promise you, when you're managing one of the largest pools of public money in the world, especially with inflation doing what it's doing and interest rates doing what they're doing, we're going to have a lot to talk about with either local issues or more global financial issues going forward, and I look forward to renewing my vows, so to speak, with the Big Talker, and I think it's going to be fantastic. And every time I'm in that neck of the woods, somebody comes up to me and says, I'm really enjoyed listening to you on the Big Talker, and just so glad to be renewing this relationship, and look forward to meeting you, visiting with you every couple of weeks and giving you an update. It may not be a 30-minute update. It may be 11 or 12-minute update. But, as I said, I'm in where I started. People don't care what political party you're a member of. They just want their problems fixed. And my job is to make government work. And your format here at the Big Talker to actually inform people, not just scream, yell, complain, and spew rage, and actually inform them versus affirming them is very, very valuable. So thank you for the part that you're playing in our society.
I'm humbled already because I'm probably as uninformed as anybody else driving a sedan down the road right now. So learning about this is going to be helpful. Certainly to me personally, and by extension, anybody else who's as dumb as I am trying to figure out how the Treasury works.
Well, I'll be glad to bring you up to speed. And I was asking you where your digs were, and I'm sorry because a couple of times in the past I brought you one of my wife's famous double chocolate Ghirardelli brownies.
Oh.
But I think I've given you one of those when you were in the studio down in Wilmington, and So next time I see you, I owe you one of those. Okay.
I appreciate it. That was it went great with coffee too. It was, man.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Listen, best to your family, and congratulations on all your success. And
Well, thank you.
just start out like you're going to hold out.
We're going to keep this fight going, I promise. And we will
Thank you
have
so
you
much.
back very often. Thank you. Have a fantastic day and get out there.
Have a great day. Bye.
Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, NC Treasurer Dale Follwell helping us out here. Apparently a couple of issues I didn't know about. Man, $1 billion just sitting there that people don't know that they have. That's cash money, ladies and gentlemen, and it's not a very difficult process. Mine, I had one error in one of my, you have to show an address for where you used to live, and I had trouble finding that. But once I got that, it wasn't but 4 or 5 days later I had a check in my hands. Amazing. So, nccash.com, just type in your name. Type in your mom's name, type in your dad's name, type in your brother's name. Type in your own company, maybe your employer. You get a little bonus saving in some money, you know? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the asylum will return in just a moment. So please, don't go nowhere.
Keeping Leland informed. The Big Talker 106.7 FM WFBT, Carolina Beach.
The Wilmington Cape Fear Home Builders Association serves as the advocate for the building industry, advancing professionalism and promoting community involvement. We are a positive force for responsible growth while protecting property rights and the privilege of home ownership. 3 out of every 5 jobs is touched in some manner by construction in our region. Growth generates jobs, maintains our property values, and builds and updates our infrastructure. Join us Friday mornings for the Construction Connection with the Wilmington Cape Fear Home Builders Association and the Big Talker FM.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. A proposed development in the Monkey Junction area of New Hanover County has lots of homeowners concerned about its potential impacts. They were able to share some of those concerns at a meeting hosted by the developers last night. Zimmer Development Company is proposing a rezoning of a 15-acre tract of land on Masonboro Loop Road. Right now, it's zoned for 2.5 units per acre. The developers want that changed to about 7 units per acre to allow a townhome development with some single-family homes. But neighbors say they're concerned about how more density could potentially add additional traffic to an area that's already congested. In Brunswick County, Leland town leaders have approved 2 developers' plans that would bring hundreds of new townhomes to the area. During a meeting Tuesday night, the town's planning board approved 2 new subdivisions. One will add more than 250 townhomes off Westgate Drive. The other, along Buckeye Road Northeast, will add more than 200 homes. Both developers must now work on infrastructure improvements in the area and submit building permit applications before construction begins. A controversial bill is making its way through the North Carolina State Senate. The bill is similar to a new law in Florida, and many in our area are weighing in. Proposed House Bill 755 is named the Parents' Bill of Rights. One of the major things the bill would establish is prohibiting school curriculums on gender identity and sexual orientation for kindergarten through 3rd grade. Schools would also contact parents if their child asked to change their name or pronoun. A New Hanover County man is feeling lucky this morning after winning a $200,000 scratch-off yesterday. Steve Milligan tried his luck on a $5 Sapphire Sevens ticket from the gas center on Market Street. Milligan took home more than $142,000 after taxes. One more $200,000 prize remains to be claimed. For more on these stories, you can head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with the Storm Track 2 forecast. Going to be another seasonable day here in the Cape Fear as our high temperatures climb into the low 80s along the immediate coastline. Middle 80s should do it away from the coast later today under sunshine and clouds, but we are going to see moisture start to increase throughout the afternoon and evening hours, and you'll notice a slight uptick in the humidity overnight tonight as our temperatures fall down to the low to middle 70s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by Two Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to twomenandatruck.com. twomenandatruck.com.
My name is Brian Wilson. I'm running for District Court Judge. During my lifetime, I've gone from protecting your God-given and constitutional freedoms as a combat vet of the U.S. military to working locally as a carpenter building homes while I worked my way through college. For the past 17 years, I've been protecting and defending your constitutional rights in the courtroom. I'm currently protecting our rights of our most vulnerable, our children, as the guardian ad litem attorney advocate for the children of Brunswick, Columbus, and Bladen County. I've spent my career serving our country, our state, and our communities, so I ask that you continue your confidence by voting for me, Brian Wilson, in the primary elections on May 17th. Thank you.
The way I describe it for people is my dad shot himself and the bullet hit everyone in his life. It was a week before my 30th birthday, and I had this impulse to call him, but I didn't because I thought I could call him later that week.
63 Americans a day die by gun suicide. With safe gun storage, we can give our loved ones a second chance at life. Learn more at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
Enjoying Big Talker Network is as easy as asking for it. Program your digital home assistants such as Google Home, Alexa, and Siri to stream Big Talker Network content by simple voice command. Enjoy convenient hands-free access to the program whenever you want, however you want by asking for Big Talker.
Hey, welcome back to the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad. Building up our cadre of guests, including Dale Follwell, the Treasurer of North Carolina. Apparently a lot of good information that we are all missing out on. So nctreasurer.com, and we'll all be able to have more informed conversations about Medicaid, the hospital cartels, and of course, all the things that we can do to improve our standing against such a large company corporation. It's almost like trying to pay extra for water just because we need it. That's just not right. And, well, now we're going to pivot, pirouette, to one of my, okay, so as a musician, I was bullied a lot by the football players and other sports figures. So as I got older and, the NFL, people being paid stupid amounts of money to do something ridiculously stupid when these people should not be playing a game, but they should be in prison. I mean, how many stories throughout the year, every year, are there conversations about this guy, domestic violence, smashing his girlfriend's face, throwing her into an elevator, right? Beat her up in an elevator. These are horrible people. They're big, right? They're north of 250 pounds. They're big. They're usually 6 foot or more, right? Some guy 6'6", 285 is damn near unstoppable, right? Certainly at the regular level, and if you're the girlfriend or wife of one of these brutes and they decide to snap, which apparently isn't uncommon, there's going to be broken eye sockets and stuff. Well, we let these little bastards out in public, like Brendan Langley, coming out of NBC News, former NFL player again, so criminal until he's on the field. Now he's off the field, and he's just walking through society, mad as hell, apparently, and entitled. So you're going to really love this story, because the guy stood up for, and man, former NFL player Brendan Langley arrested, a United worker fired, which I point out will be a little unfair, after brawl at Newark Airport. Langley was charged with assault and released on his own recognizance. Again, see, we're just special treatment to these criminals, thugs. Anyway, Minivan Burke and Maya Brown wrote this. Former NFL player Brendan Langley was arrested on an assault charge in a New Jersey airport worker, and a New Jersey airport worker was fired after the two got into a bloody brawl at the United Airlines check-in counter. The fight, partially captured on cell phone video and posted to social media, happened just after 11 in the morning Thursday at Newark Liberty International Airport. In the video, the worker appears to slap Langley in the face, and Langley hits him back. The two men exchange words, and Langley throws a punch, which the worker dodges. Langley then moves toward the worker and throws more punches, hitting him in the face. The man stumbles over some luggage and approaches Langley. The two men continue fighting as other passengers move out of the way. Langley and the worker briefly separate and exchange some more words before the worker hits Langley in the face. "You saw that," Langley says before he appears to repeatedly punch the worker. The worker falls and is seen bleeding above his left eye. In the video, the worker gets up and approaches Langley as two airport employees come over to try and break up the brawl. The video does not show what led up to the fight. Here's where it gets interesting. Langley, 27, brute, thug, angry criminal, was accused of improperly using a wheelchair to transport his luggage. So I'm guessing the NFL players are not highly educated, nor do they have any sense of ethic or etiquette, that they would just grab a wheelchair at random because they're, too lazy? They're not strong enough to carry their own luggage? Right? The guy bench presses a car, and he can't carry his luggage. He has to use a wheelchair. Why aren't you using that wheelchair in the Walmart? Why aren't you in the wheelchair? Oh, because you're an entitled thug that can just grab anything around you. Use a wheelchair. Did you throw the person out of the wheelchair before you threw your luggage in there? Anyway, Langley was arrested and released. That was a mistake. On his own recognizance, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey said in a statement, the unidentified worker who works for United Ground Express, a subsidiary of United Airlines, was fired. I think that was inappropriate. United Airlines does not tolerate violence of any kind at our airports or on board our planes, and we are working with local authorities to further investigate this matter, the airline said in a statement. So the video only picks up after the altercation that started, where Neckbeard, right? Because I don't know the guy's name, but the unidentified worker looked like a neckbeard, right? One of those. Anyway, one of those lumberjack-looking guys that couldn't change a tire if he had to. Probably still lives at home with his mom, but that's beside the point. At least he was calling Langley out for being a jerk. Man, using a wheelchair? Really? We leave those wheelchairs at the gates for the people that need a wheelchair. You just grab one, so now when somebody comes off the airport and they need a wheelchair to get around, you're a jerk. Brendan Langley is a jerk. He's a bully, he's a thug, he's an entitled brat. And I think he should be paying for this guy's salary for the rest of his life. And should never be allowed in an airport again in his life. What's interesting is Langley sucks as an NFL player, apparently, because the only job he can get is working as a wide receiver for the Calgary Stampeders, a Canadian football team. Just stay there, man. I don't think there's very few NFL players, I think, that should be allowed out in public, right? If you're going to do gladiator style, those people were kept separate from society. They weren't allowed to mingle with the populace because they are not going to be able to treat anybody else in the public space with any respect because they have none. And this is true for any of these celebrities who make, stupid amounts of money that have lost all connection with humanity. I mean, to the point that we're now arguing that doors are safer than gun control legislation. Yeah, we should just eliminate all the doors and have just one. Ted Cancun Cruz, right? Just bad decisions, bad ideas. And having NFL players running loose in the world is just a bad idea. These people are criminals and thugs. Right? I mean, if they had been anybody else, if they had been living in a trailer on the south side of some big city, The stuff that these people do to their girlfriends over, because you've seen the news reports. If I need to go find them, I will. Just type it in and let me know. But these folks are not known for being gentle giants. No, these people are brutal. And they will smash people at the drop of a hat because that's what they do. In Olympics, doping is not allowed in steroids and stuff like that. But in NFL, that's a snack. And it does warp the brain to the point that these guys are just aggressive beasts that are just not safe in the general population. And this guy's sense of entitlement specifically, right? I mean, would any normal, rational, working human being steal a wheelchair to carry their luggage? If you need help with your luggage, that's why they have stewards there at the airport to help you with your luggage. So that you don't take the wheelchair that somebody else is going to need. But Brendan Langley here is such a self-centered, narcissistic, punk-ass putz, which is indicative of the entire NFL, right? And they were a nonprofit. Only recently did they lose their nonprofit status. But if you want to talk about the amount of money, this is stupid money. NFL money is stupid money. And these people are being paid stupid amounts of money. But you're not going to see them standing guard at a store or a school. If anything, they're more likely to be the violent one in any situation. They don't need a gun. 6'6", 100 or 285 pounds. Yeah. These guys, Denver Broncos. No, the NFL whole thing should just be collapsed. There's so much about our society that has rotted us from the inside out. NFL and light beer is certainly one pair that we could do without in this country. I'm not saying football is bad. The college games where people are playing for the game, right? They're actually playing because they're interested in the game. These guys, they're popping pills and bulking up and spending millions of dollars on, ridiculous. And some of them, the NFL tries to concentrate on their philanthropy. Oh, look, this guy gave a bunch of money to a hospital. But if it's not him, the guy next to him is going to have a rap sheet for assault and aggressive and aggravated and beating up and all kinds of stupid. Because they're entitled. They think that this is what they're owed. And apparently Brendan Langley was offended by somebody saying, don't use the wheelchair for your personal luggage, you sack of crap. And Brendan Langley here, who's what, God? What, is he some sort of special guy because he catches a football on Sunday? Apparently he's not very good at it, or else he wouldn't have been, released from the Denver Broncos and having to work in Canada. And if you're working in Canada, live there. Stay the hell out of America. Obviously, we don't want you. We don't want that. I would not want that behavior in my town. When I lived in California for a while and the NFL teams would come in for pizza after their spring training camp day, most of them seemed to be level-headed. At least they were able to behave themselves in my pizza joint. But I've never had to fly commercial with these guys. Right? I've never been in a hotel where the guy tackles his girlfriend in the elevator. Again, this is not behavior that should be encouraged. If we're to have heroes, we should have heroes that understand science, technology, and medicine. How about the hero that crushes the hospital profiteering, crushes health insurance facade, and allows us to have decent health care for everyone, regardless of where you work and what you do. Because again, think about it. Here's a guy in the NFL, Brendan Langley, violent thug, has better health care than you and I will ever know. And he does not pay for that. That's part of his employment with the, it might have changed now that he's in Calgary because they don't have the same insurance and health care issues that we do in America. But now they have a known criminal thug with a bad attitude and the propensity for just beating people up. And he will take your wheelchair. He will throw you out of the wheelchair to carry his luggage. This is the type of sack of crap human beings that the NFL cranks out. And by extension, the same type of crap that is experienced in high schools across the nation, because the schools themselves end up treating their football stars with a whole different range of what they're allowed to do and get away with. So we're entitling these people from the beginning. So that when they turn, how old is this guy? I'm going to say he's in his early 30s, mid-30s maybe. And he's probably 27. He's probably been beating people up for the past 15 years. And now the thug is just going to beat up people who tell him that what he's done is wrong. If you don't know that using a wheelchair to carry your luggage is improper, certainly a improper etiquette. I mean, you're just a jerk. People who need a wheelchair need a wheelchair. You're an NFL thug. You don't need a fucking wheelchair, dude. You're able to bench press a car, but you can't carry your luggage across the terminal? Man, you're just a sack of crap. And the fact that the NFL, that's who the NFL is made of. Rank and file are people like Brendan Langley. Right? The ones that rise to the top are the ones that the NFL pins their hopes on. Oh, look, Tom Brady did a philanthropy thing. He gave money. He did something nice. For every one of those, you got 30 Brendan Langleys beating people up randomly around the country. So if you wonder if it's a gun problem, it's not a gun problem. It's an American problem. It's an us problem. It's an entitlement problem. It's a reevaluation of our priorities problem. That we tend to think of stars and celebrities and politicos as something important. They're not. Stop treating them special and hold them to account for their stupid. And if the first part, again, this video only shows after it picked up, but when the guy, I can see it in my head. Here's superstar thug NFL Brendan Langley, and somebody told him, "Hey man, what you're doing is wrong. We use these wheelchairs for people who need wheelchairs, not for thugs to carry their luggage because they're lazy sack of crap." And, of course, Brendan Langley took offense to that. How dare you tell me I did something wrong? Don't you know who I am? I bet that was in there. I'm Brendan Langley, man. Can't talk to me like that. But we would correct that behavior in a 5-year-old. Hey, I understand the wheelchair looks cool with the wheels on it and all that, but that's not for you. You don't need a wheelchair. Let's put the wheelchair back. And it's the same type of, stewardship. That same mentality that he's so entitled that he can just take a wheelchair. He's not going to bother looking for a trash can. It's too far away. He's not going to use a turn signal because he's too important. Right? There is no sense of involvement in his community. He has no sense of participation in community. He expects the community to worship him. Many of these people do. And it's not just in sports. I'll put it over into the Clay Aikens. If you look at his website, it is embarrassing. But he expects us to vote for him because we loved him on whatever that show was. The one he didn't win. But apparently that makes him special. Right? I know people that are working 12 hours a day, supporting other people, making sure that they don't die. Right? But we don't give them the same credentials that we give this Brendan Langley. And they know how to use a wheelchair. They have to use a wheelchair. That's right. I'm referring to the medical personnel. You don't see them carrying their luggage in a wheelchair, right? I mean, how many other people in that airport throughout that? I'll give you the entire year of 2022 to now. What is that, 5 months? I bet not one other person used a wheelchair to carry their luggage. Unless they themselves were sitting in the wheelchair because they needed it and had the luggage on their lap. But no, Brendan Langley here, he's entitled, he's allowed, he's special. He's special. He gets to use the wheelchair to carry his luggage because he's a lazy sack of crap. And he apparently is such a horrible human being and a bad player. The NFL said, nah. The Broncos said, nah, we're done. It's not like the Broncos is the strongest team. So it's not like he was even strong enough to be, you know, on a good team. Now he's on a Canadian team. And football to them is like girls' soccer to us. So if that's the only way you can be employed, yeah, I bet you frustrated. And it started in school, by the way. Right? Might have started in elementary school. It might have started in middle school. But definitely was blooming by high school. And it's not like you can expect this guy to get a degree in mental health. No, this guy should be an MMA. And again, another group of criminals that should not be glorified and highlighted. And of course, the stupid amount of money that these guys are making for doing absolutely nothing helpful. I mean, I understand the need from the Roman age to have some sort of gladiator competition, but let's do it real. Right? As long as we're going to have thugs and criminals to look at, let's throw the thugs and criminals into a cage. Have at it. 2 men enters. The one who leaves gets the top bunk. How's that? But no, Brendan Langley released on his own recognizance. Really? This same sack of crap who just did the wheelchair for his luggage and then beat up a guy because he was told that what he was doing was inappropriate. You released him on his own recognizance? You really think he's going to be responsible for his own actions? He just demonstrated he is incapable of doing that. Yet you released him on his own recognizance. Why not release all the drunk drivers on their own recognizance? They make good decisions. Man, nothing pissing me off like that because I've been beat up by these guys. They should be in jail, not handed millions of dollars and flown around the world. No, when a person does something stupid, we put them in their place. Please, let's start doing that again. Anyway, the asylum will return. Don't go nowhere.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. A proposed development in the Monkey Junction area of New Hanover County has lots of homeowners concerned about its potential impacts. They were able to share some of those concerns at a meeting hosted by the developers last night. Zimmer Development Company is proposing a rezoning of a 15-acre tract of land on Masonboro Loop Road. Right now, it's zoned for 2.5 units per acre. The developers want that changed to about 7 units per acre to allow a townhome development with some single-family homes. But neighbors say they're concerned about how more density could potentially add additional traffic to an area that's already congested. In Brunswick County, Leland town leaders have approved 2 developers' plans that would bring hundreds of new townhomes to the area. During a meeting Tuesday night, the town's planning board approved 2 new subdivisions. One will add more than 250 townhomes off Westgate Drive. The other, along Buckeye Road Northeast, will add more than 200 homes. Both developers must now work on infrastructure improvements in the area and submit building permit applications before construction begins. A controversial bill is making its way through the North Carolina State Senate. The bill is similar to a new law in Florida, and many in our area are weighing in. Proposed House Bill 755 is named the Parents' Bill of Rights. One of the major things the bill would establish is prohibiting school curriculums on gender identity and sexual orientation for kindergarten through 3rd grade. Schools would also contact parents if their child asked to change their name or pronoun. A New Hanover County man is feeling lucky this morning after winning a $200,000 scratch-off yesterday. Steve Milligan tried his luck on a $5 Sapphire Sevens ticket from the gas center on Market Street. Milligan took home more than $142,000 after taxes. One more $200,000 prize remains to be claimed. For more on these stories, you can head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with the Storm Track 2 forecast. Going to be another seasonable day here in the Cape Fears. Our high temperatures climb into the low 80s along the immediate coastline. Middle 80s should do it away from the coast later today under sunshine and clouds, but we are going to see moisture start to increase throughout the afternoon and evening hours, and you'll notice a slight uptick in the humidity overnight tonight as our temperatures fall down to the low to middle 70s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by 2 Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to 2menandatruck.com. 2menandatruck.com.
Teachers and parents, the North Carolina Symphony is here to support you as you carry on the education of your children and students. Take your kids on a free virtual field trip to the Symphony with a virtual education concert and companion student book. Go on a virtual journey to learn what makes music music with music by William Grant Still, Beethoven, Brahms, and more. Access the free video and student book with password 1932 at ncsymphony.org/virtual.
Hi, this is Justin Humphreys from the Humphreys Law Firm on Eastwood Road. Tune in Thursdays from 6 to 7 p.m. for Objection to the Form, covering civil litigation, real estate issues, and intellectual property. That's Objection to the Form, Thursdays 6 to 7 p.m. right here on the Big Talker 106.7 FM.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that. Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
The Asylum. Your refuge in a world gone mad. Is back and live right here on the Big Talker Network, bigtalker.live. Please visit the website, take a look at the schedule of content so you know when your favorite show runs. You can take the Big Talker anywhere and everywhere you want to be with the Big Talker app for Android and iOS devices. All you really savvy folk can Bluetooth your Big Talker smartphone with your automobile's entertainment system. Yeah, it's kind of cool too, you know. You can pop in some AirPods and go walking through the park while listening to your favorite programs right here on the Big Talker. It's amazing. On the Big Talker website and on the app, there's a link there to send us an email with any questions, comments, concerns, compliments, or critiques you may have. We cannot get better without your assistance, without your involvement, and without your feedback. Pushback, all that good stuff. Man, welcome back to Thursday. Had a great night last night with the Voice in the Pen. Did a structured jam, bunch of people I'd never met. It's fun. Y'all should get involved. Which is why I'm a little this morning. So, Newser.com brought us a story that I just have to tell you about. I'm sure other people have covered it. but not like we're about to. This week brings the biggest asteroid flyby of the year. This rock is called 7335. The article by John Johnson at Newser staff. It's a rock. Sky watchers of the professional and amateur varieties are keeping an eye on the heavens this week to spot a giant asteroid zipping by. The rock dubbed 7335 The rock dubbed 7335 1989 JA will be the closest to Earth on Friday. That would be tomorrow. Conveniently, by the way, reported by Live Science. This one just happens to be the largest asteroid expected to do a flyby this year, with Live Science describing the mile-wide rock as 4 times the size of the Empire State Building. AccuWeather, because they know that their audience has the average intelligence of a 6th grader, decided to take the more fanciful approach and letting everybody know it's as tall as 350 giraffes. I assume full-grown adult giraffes. The asteroid will miss our planet by about 2.5 million miles, though that's close enough to qualify as potentially hazardous in the eyes of NASA, that would be the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. It's also close enough for those with telescopes to spot it. And some already have, notes AccuWeather. Stargazers hoping to catch a glimpse of the asteroid can find it in the southern sky near the constellation Hydra. Hail Hydra. It should become easier to spot as Friday approaches. Those who miss it this time will have to wait until 2055 for another glimpse. I'll be 90. If I make it. These not in school. We have football in school, but we don't have science in school. How's that? We have football in school, but we don't have music. Right? I mean, look at the budgets for these schools. What's the budget for your football, and what's the budget for your music? And I would say just your varsity team, right? Let's just take a look at the budget for your high school's varsity team and compare it to your high school's entire music department. Huh? That's some homework for your own school where your own kids go to. You're worried about critical race theory? You're worried about this other crap? No. Let's start with where the problems are. Let's look at the administration of these educational establishments. Who's making the money and who's doing the work? That has never been entirely fair. Right? Here's some jackass carrying a football, making, $2-3 million a year, and yet the teachers are expected to pay out of their own pocket for the materials they need to operate in their class because the football players have all the money. And if it's not the football players, it's the administration that brought a football team in. One of the football players gets hired into the Denver Broncos, for example, and suddenly they look like a hero. Their school is touted as, whatever magical joint. No. We need to start placing emphasis not on celebrity and stupid. We need to start looking at smart solutions, right? That's why I'm so excited about, projects like the Eden Village, because yes, like many of you, I am incensed when some jackhole stops me on the street for a cigarette or a dollar or some sob story about how they haven't eaten in days. It's not my fault. I know how to cook. I know how to use my skill set to do what I need. The component I miss, and a lot of us do, most of us do, majority of us do, is the mental health component. When a person's brain is broken, when their mind is broken, fractured, it is very difficult for them to do anything, I would think. In a lot of cases, again, this is not a personal experience to this degree. I understand mental health can be debilitating. It makes it difficult sometimes just to get out of bed. So these people are broken to the point that they are okay with living on the streets and begging people they don't know walking by in nice clothes to take care of them because they are incapable of taking care of themselves for whatever reason that they are broken. And yes, like you, I am a little bit impatient when it comes to people incapable of taking care of themselves. It's something I just don't understand. And that's why people like Dr. Dalton at the Eden Village are able to spell it out and say, these aren't bad people, and I get that. For them, they're not evil, bad people, right? They're not shooting up schools. They're not attacking people in the by and large. They're not, beating people up in the airport. They're not entitled punks rolling their luggage down the jetway in somebody else's wheelchair. And they just need a little bit of help. They need, a little bit more direct care. And it has been proven by apparently there are other Eden Villages around the country. And and Eden Village is not alone. There are a lot of arrangements or partnerships, or the Low Income Housing Institute we spoke with, Aaron Long, down at the Seattle, Washington headquarters. They have been consistently turning over homeless to permanent housing 50% or more a year for over 15 years. Then you have stupid like Los Angeles with a budget of nearly $1 billion a year, and they can't manage 4% transition. They're just in it for the money, right? If you can't tell, somebody needs to go in there and just scrap that and start over. Because obviously $800 million a year combined, right? 830, I think 37, something like that. Some ridiculous amount of money, a hell of a lot closer to $1 billion than I will ever be. And they can't turn homelessness into permanently housed people. Whereas in Seattle, with a much smaller budget and an effective, active partnership, are able to transition more than 50% of their homeless every single year for over 15 years. The Eden Village Project has a slightly different, and I'm sure we'll be exploring that a little bit more, a slightly different, that's your home. You don't ever have to leave, right? I don't know that's not the path I would have, the incentive. Because they're not incentivized to do much besides the bare minimum of staying in their little spot. The discussion with Aaron Long is a challenge. You're challenging these people. You give them what they need as a base support. Right? They have direct care, mental care, physical care, medical care. Right? They learn how to do things like, wash their clothes themselves, how to cook, how to clean, how to eat, how to feed, how to work, how to budget, right? You basically teach them all the stuff that our education system didn't. Because our public school system is just basically a job care, daycare job, job corps, job training, whatever. Right? Because your public schools are not going to crank out your next leader. It's going to be the rich schools. It's been at least 100 years or so since we had regular people in office. Now it's the rich that get elected because you can't be elected if you're poor. Because you just can't afford it. What are you going to do? Sleep on the street? No. You got to stay in Trump Hotel when you're in Washington. That's reasonable. As pointed out on Heard Tell, the staff, the aides, they have to come from affluent families because there's no way to afford to live in D.C. and do these staffer jobs unless you already have money. So this is not a job career kind of thing like the rest of us that are like, oh my God, how am I going to pay rent next month? Right? Do I pay the electric bill? Do I buy food? Or do I pay the rent? That's all the work we got. That's all the money we got. And with gas going up, and everything else, not helping the regular people. But these NFL players, they got it made. If America ever figured it out, but these are not the brightest people. These are your beer drinking, squat truck driving. There's, not everybody. But that whole section right there is just not helping. And most of those guys are going to be cheering on this Brendan Langley jackhole. Man, he should have gave him another lift. Encouraging the violence. Because that's how we do business in America. If I can't have my way, I'm going to beat you up or claim bankruptcy. That's how we do it here. The most litigious country on the planet. That's who we are. Right? I mean, there's an interesting poem. Well, every country was mentioned for what they're known for. Like, Australia is known for kangaroos. Right? Britain, UK is known for tea and scones. Ireland is known for the Highlands. Or is that Scotland? I don't know. That whole island confuses me. But America is represented by a gun. I know how to operate a gun. I know how to clean a gun. I know how to disassemble a gun. I know how to operate a gun with safety. I know what a gun is meant for. I was trained by military personnel. In my civilian life, I do not think that there is any purpose, reason, need for a gun. It's like a magnet. It just attracts problems. And everybody I know who loves to carry a gun in their car has gotten into some altercation, not necessarily with the gun, but just knowing that they have one gives them that little extra edge that they'll go confront anybody at the drop of a hat. Because they know if they lose the fight, they can go to their car, pull out their gun, and even the odds. And everybody's talking about, it's for protection. From what? What have you done that you need to be protected from? And if somebody's going to come and rob me at gunpoint, my having a gun is not going to do that much difference until afterwards. And all it's going to do if I pull it out while the guy is pointing a gun at me is get me shot. There's not a lot of thinking through of this thing. In these regards, it almost makes sense, hang on. Pause. Understand that this issue hasn't ended. That there's going to be a legal process at the end of all this. So how you behave and how you act is going to impact what's about to happen. So yeah, random ownership of guns and carrying them, like strapping an AR-15 to go order coffee, is not convincing me that you are a well-balanced human being who should have a gun in the first place. Responsible gun ownership means that people don't know you have one. Responsible gun ownership would be synonymous with responsible American adult. Unfortunately, we do not have that equation happening in our world right now. But the bigger question is why? Why do these people feel a need? Because they feel vulnerable and they're open to attack. That's because we created a society like that. And the American poison of this type of mentality has infected the Pulse nightclub. It's infected other places around the country. Around the world. From our country. Hominis Americanus has poisoned the rest of the planet. And it's a nefarious type of poisoning. UK has football. They have real football. They have soccer. They have real sports. But now, America had to infect the UK by bringing an NFL game or two to Britain. That's just like bringing our STDs to other countries and saying, here you go, enjoy. There's no cure for this. You're going to keep that stuff forever like herpes. That's the American poison. I can't wait to see what happens to the healthcare industries of all these other countries when the healthcare people make, you made what as a bonus? You made $1 billion bonus last year? Yeah, our healthcare just got more expensive. And you can't get healthcare without insurance, or we charge you more. Because the insurance, this is the mentality. Because the insurance is buying so much health care, they get a bulk reduced rate. How's that? That's how much your life actually matters. So people trying to do your Black Lives Matter, your White Lives Matter, your Green Lives Matter, your Purple Lives, y'all are just not paying attention. No, none of your lives matter until healthcare matters. Because until healthcare matters, you can die and they will still profit on you. Keep in mind that there's, more than half of the Americans in this country, more than half of the United States citizens, because we're more than Americans. I mean, Brazilians are Americans, South Americans, but they're Americans. United States citizens. Over half of us are one hospital, one ambulance ride away from bankruptcy. Now, who does the actual work, right? Let's take a macrocosm of Carolina Beach, where all the parking places are expensive, whether you work there or not. So, if you're making $15 an hour, you have to pay $5 an hour. So you are losing a third of your income just to park your car. So with the remaining $10 an hour, even if you are working 40 hours a week, $400 to pay your rent, to pay your insurance, and God forbid if you break a toe or a leg, or maybe contract cancer, you're done. Even if you were to walk to work and not pay for any ride sharing or taxi or anything and don't pay for parking, there's no way you're going to recover. But these are the people that we expect to have smiles on their faces when the tourists come to town. The very people that you have at the bottom of the poll, the ones you treat the worst, with the least flexible access to health care. It's great that we can open up 1 million hospitals and joints and whatever, but if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. And that's the same thing that's like, oh, look, healthy is the new profitable trend. That's why healthy food costs, 2, 3, 4 times as much as garbage. McDonald's is still cranking out, dollar hamburgers that are selling way more than any healthy, natural, farmer's market food. Maybe a salad. Right? Burgers and fries are still outselling every other normal food at 3 to 1. It's ridiculous. But this is who we are. We are guns. We are fast food. We are bullies. Oh, yeah, now and again we do have a little come together and help raise money for this, that, or the other. And lots of we have truckloads of thoughts and prayers. But absolutely nothing is being done, my Lord. Nothing is being done. No, nothing changes. Just the money. And that's what it's, let's just be honest. America is about profit. We have taken capitalism to a whole new level. Right? One of the articles was showing that Ted Cruz received over $700,000 in a single year from the NRA and associated weapons packs so that he can turn around and say, oh, yeah, we need to harden the target. We need to lock all the other doors, which is great in a fire, and limit access so that, No. Let's address the issue. Why do these people, 18 years old, feel a need to go to this extreme? Well, Brendan Langley offers a lot of insight to that. We have trouble understanding or being able to correct another's behavior. It will get you shot. It will get you beat up. And the heinous behavior and actions and mental stupidity continue. Which is why Brendan Langley was of the mindset that, oh, look, a wheelchair. I'm going to use this because I'm a sack of crap with no other excuse. There is no excuse for that guy to be using a wheelchair to carry his luggage. None. It's that type of entitled bullshit that the rest of us are like, no. And it's not even a matter of that's not fair. That's just not right. Do you have no conception of right and wrong? Apparently not. That's why you're a bully and a thug and beat people up when they try to correct your behavior for being a jerk in public. These are the solutions that need to be discussed. These they're not going to be fun, comfortable, throw money at it or profit from situations. No. This is going to have to be a systemic cultural shift. That this is unacceptable crap. And we need to hold these people to account. You're NFL, you're a football player, you're a big, strong guy. Sorry, I'm being attacked by spiders again. But yeah, he's worth several $1 million a year. Whereas the teacher who's having to pay for her own staples, her own pencils, her own chalk, is not. Which one is the hero? Right? The EMT that's out there trying to stop the bleeding of all these victims? Or the NFL guy who punches out an airport employee because his behavior was being corrected? Do you not understand how the reward system works here, ladies and gentlemen? So if we want to correct these issues, we have to have some very uncomfortable conversations about how we encourage people to behave this way. Addressing bullying in schools is it's a no-bully zone. No, bullies happen. You just have to equip people to deal with the bullies so that they don't end up like Brendan Langley. You don't end up with that Rice, NFL, right? What was that guy's name? Get off of me. It's like all the spider eggs have hatched at once. Ray Rice, the story of the NFL and partner violence remains complicated. That was 3 years ago. The story of the NFL and partner violence remains complicated. Childs Walker, Baltimore Sun. The details were scarce at first. We knew that Ray Rice, one of the most popular and image-conscious players on the Ravens, had been arrested and charged with simple assault after alleged early morning exchange of blows with his fiancée at the Rebel Casino in Atlantic City. His attorney described the incident between Rice and Palmer, who had also been arrested and charged with assault, as a very minor physical altercation. It was the day after Valentine's Day 2014. Few foresaw the storm that had been set in motion. We were still almost 7 months from seeing the video, Rice knocking Palmer to the floor of a casino elevator with a left-handed punch to the jaw. Right? He's paid millions of dollars to play football, and he's a criminal thug beating up his girlfriend, cracking her in the jaw. Oh, I only use my left hand. The image, more than anything, would force the NFL, the Ravens, and the National Football fans to reckon with the ugly reality and daunting prevalence of intimate partner violence. It would make Rice an instant pariah from the sport that brought him wealth and admiration. These are not heroes. These are criminals. These are thugs. These are violent human beings that should not be rewarded with millions of dollars. They should be incarcerated for decades. The real change maker in this situation was the video. The executive director for House of Ruth in Maryland, Sandy Timmons, which works against intimate partner violence with an array of support and training programs, and has partnered with the Ravens since 2014. The accusation was out there, but the public had a hard time reconciling it with this person that they admired, that they liked. They couldn't fit it together, so denial comes forward. Of course. We love the guy. He can't do any wrong. I mean, look at Fat 45. He had decades of failures and bad policy and just horrible rhetoric, and we elected him anyway. Denials come forward. And that has always been the one thing we are up against. But when the video came out, there was no question that this thing happened. You could see it. It was an awakening. 5 years from the day of that punch, many things have changed. The NFL has instituted preemptive training programs for its players. The Ravens have avoided drafting players with history of violence against women and have supported local nonprofits that aid. Yeah, see, throwing money. A lot of optics here. Rice has recast himself as a spokesman against partner violence. Trying to help other athletes avoid the terrible mistake he made. What? Yeah, hit her with the right. Because as long as you're going to jail, you might as well make the punch count. Many harsher realities around intimate partner violence have not changed. It's still an epidemic that affects 1 in 4 women in this country. The NFL still faces difficult questions about inconsistent suspensions handed out to perpetrators and about draft picks and free agent dollars spent on players with violence in their immediate backgrounds. Experts on partner violence have criticized the NFL Players Association for moving sluggishly on prevention efforts. Just last season, the Ravens encountered a dilemma when they chose to stand by cornerback Jimmy Smith, who'd been suspended 4 games because of emotionally abusive and threatening behavior toward the mother of his son. Earlier this week, many football fans cringed when Cleveland Browns signed running back Kareem Hunt, who'd been released by the Kansas City Chiefs in November after TMZ Sports posted video of him shoving and kicking a woman in a Cleveland apartment building. Though everyone involved acknowledges there's much work left to be done, NFL and Ravens officials say Rice's case prompted a sea change in the league's understanding and handling of intimate partner violence. We are a very different organization than we were 5 years ago. Really? Oh, yeah. You're different because you're no longer a nonprofit. Got it. We are a more knowledgeable organization, and we've spent an unbelievable amount of time diving into issues of domestic violence and sexual violence. It's not a secret that was born out of a really tough time in our history. Really? Critics, however, say the NFL undercuts its message with teams sign players such as Hunt. The message this sends is that money matters more than women. I'll say that for the one in the back. The NFL critics, however, say the NFL undercuts its message when teams sign players such as Hunt. The message this sends is that money matters more than women. That's Tony Van Pelt, president of the National Organization for Women, telling NBC News. Women don't matter to the NFL, which is rather surprising because they're a big part of the viewer audience. The only women that matter to the NFL are the cheerleaders. And if you know anything about, if you've ever seen a cheerleader squad, you already know what their list of qualifications are. The Ravens released Rice on 2014, the same day that the video was posted of him punching Palmer, who he had married just that year. He spent the next few years training for a potential return to NFL, but eventually accepted that the opportunity would not come. Instead, he's accepted his role as the face of a troubling issue and spends most of his time speaking to amateur and professional athletes, including Ravens rookies, each of the past 3 summers. I hate that person, the former Baltimore Ravens running back told CBS this morning in a December interview that year. I hate him. Somewhere down the line, everybody who's saying, does he deserve a second chance for football, and this, that, and the other, I actually got my second chance. Rice did not respond to requests for an interview by the Baltimore Sun, but his message in recent years has been consistent. Athletes and other young men must confront their own emotions and their hidden damage in their past to avoid hurting others. One of the underlying issues for me, I never wanted to ask for help. Football for me was my counseling, it was my therapy, it was my psychologist, it was everything. It's a national problem. Cass said that even though individual cases have been complicated, the NFL has deepened its investigations, independent of law enforcement agencies, and improved coordination with the teams involved. He called Rice's case a defining moment in prompting those improvements. I know when an NFL player is involved in a domestic violence situation, he gets a lot of notoriety. So to the public, it's going to look as though NFL players are more likely to get involved in domestic violence than the general population. I don't think that's true at all. Our players are less likely to become involved in domestic violence than the general population. It's a national problem. But it's a problem in the NFL, and I think we've become a leader in how to deal with it, how to educate our players and the rest of our workforce about it. We need to continue that leadership role, and I think we will. Okay, see how they're confining it just to domestic violence. This episode in Newark was in public. Just a random guy saying, hey, man, don't use our wheelchairs for your luggage. And that was all it took. And Brendan Langley just decided to snap and beat up on this guy who, neckbeard squares up like a fool. Come on, man. You can't even change a tire or cook a ramen meal, and you're going to square up against a professional criminal? A professional thug, hired muscle. I mean, this guy has trained his entire life to kill and break people. Okay, maybe not kill, but certainly damage. And you're not wearing any protective gear whatsoever. He is going to break you like a twig. But the fact that he is able to walk in public, to be anywhere, basically profitable criminality. Sorry. All right. We'll try this again tomorrow. I'll get a little sleep. Maybe I won't be so angry. But there's a lot to be angry about. And a lot of it has to do with who we are. And until we can get honest and confront who we are, get over our discomfort, it's going to happen again. It happened last week. It happened the week before. Yeah, just wait a couple of weeks, see what happens. There's your change. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the Asylum today. We will see you tomorrow. And scene.
Keeping Oak Island informed. The Big Talker 106.7 FM WFBT, Carolina Beach.
We're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescue